Hello, good afternoon. So I again come up with the next version of my PPT discussion. So in last PPT discussion, we talk about microscopic characterization of graphene and graphene oxide. And particularly we talk about scanning electron microscope and how we can use scanning electron microscopy to analyze the graphene and its derivative. Similarly, we learn how we can use transmission electron microscopy to analyze the graphene and graphene oxide, and even we can get the idea about number of layers and structural properties of graphene, or if any kind of defect is associated in graphene. That kind of analysis we can do by analyzing the TM images. Also, we have learned how we can use the atomic force microscopy, particularly to understand the thickness of graphene sheet, and also if there is a folding on the surface of the graphene, that can be understood by doing the AFM analysis. In similar manner, we have also gone through the data, how the scanning tunneling microscope can be used to analyze the graphene and its derivative. And we have also learned like even not structural properties, which is particularly the atomic representation of graphene. Apart from that, we can also get some information about electronic structure of graphene. So as we discussed in the last, like microscopic is one of the tool to analyze the graphene structure. Similarly, we can also do the spectroscopic analysis. So in spectroscopic, we may start with Raman analysis of the data. So Raman spectroscopy, I think we are already familiar. In generic, if you say what is the Raman spectroscopy or what is the principle behind it. So let's say we have one light source which is interacting with the material. So there is three possibility. One, material may absorb some part of the light. Second, it transmits some part of the light. It is also possible that there may be some scattering of the light. If we consider the scattered part, which is maybe very less, 1 or 2% or 5%, so that wavelength of that scattered light will not be the same or may not be the same as compared to the incident radiation. So this kind of difference was noticed by Dr. Raman sir, and they have basically explained all these regions and why it is happening. So in general, if we talk, so how much shift it is. So this shift basically depend upon the structure of the material or the chemical structure of the molecule. So by analyzing that shift, we can easily identify what kind of material is there or what kind of molecular structure of the material. Particularly, we can get the idea about composition, crystalline behavior, if there is a lattice strain, defect, or maybe the crystal size of the material. And if we talk particularly about graphite, so if we analyze graphite by Raman spectroscopy, we can get the three kind of major peak, or we can say the band. One is D band. If you see the spectrum, it appears around 1350 centimeter inverse. We also observe one band at 1582 centimeter around, and which is known as the G band. Furthermore, the other band appears at 2700 centimeter inverse, which is known as 2D band. Sometime it is also called a G dash band. And this G dash band is basically a kind of overtone of D band. So if your D band is appeared at 1350, so at the double frequency or the double wavelength, you can see here double value. So it appeared the 2D band. So therefore it's also basically the overtone of your D band. Now there is also sometimes we observe one band, but intensity is slightly lesser as 3240 or something. So that is again 2D dash band. So means we are already having the G band. So now the overtone of your G band. So that is also sometimes we call it G double dash band. So these are the typical feature of graphite spectroscopy. Now we will understand how it will be different once we have graphene as a material, or once we have a graphene oxide, or we can say once we have a functionalized graphene, or once we have a multi-layer graphene. So there will be a clear-cut differences in these peaks. So which give very clear-cut idea about these materials. So let's see one example here. So this is the Raman spectrum of graphene. This data is published in AIP publication. So if you see the Raman shift, that is centimeter inverse, as compared to intensity in arbitrary unit, see there is a band D band, that is 1350, then G band 1582, then D dash band 1620, then 2D band at 2700, then some other small bands are there. So as we said earlier, there is a band. So what is the origin of these bands? So let's say if we talk about D band, okay. So D band, which is appeared at 1350. So this is particularly related to the defect. D means a kind of defect. Okay. So caused by the disordered structure of graphene. So if there is basically if there is any kind of defect associated with graphene, then we can have basically the high intensity of this D band, and this appeared due to one elastic and one inelastic scattering, and particularly what is the defect is associated nearby K point. K point, we already know that Dirac point. So if any defect is associated near Dirac point, such as if there is sp3 bonding, so we know in graphene there should be only sp2 bonding, but if there is any sp3 bonding, then we can say okay, there is a defect. And I would suggest, if we are interested, you should read this reference to get some more detail about this kind of band and what is the region of D band and 2D band. Similarly, the G band is basically talk about carbon-carbon bonding, and in almost all the case of sp2 hybrid carbon system, this G band is appeared, right? So if you have pure graphene, so that means there should be a very intense G band peak. Why? Because your graphene is having lateral sp2 hybrid system, nothing in the Z direction, and if there is no defect, then there should be very strong G peak in the system. So by doing this Raman analysis, by analyzing D peak and G peak, we can get about one idea about the quality of graphene. So if there is any impurity, or if there is any kind of surface charge in the graphene, then this G peak is sometimes split into two peaks. So as you can see here also, this G peak is there, and then maybe something is there. So we are also observing the another peak at 1620. Okay, so this again tell us about the imperfection in graphene. Now see the another example. So why we are observing the 2D band? D band is clear now, and G band is I think clear now. So 2D band is referred to the stacking order of the graphene layer. Means if monolayer, then 2D band will not be that much. But if there is any interaction with layer to layer, if there is any stack, let's say the graphite case, then we are going to get the 2D peak. Or it is relatively, we are getting this peak due to the second order of zone boundary phonons. So if we compare the sharp G peak with respect to 2D peak, then we can get the idea about what kind of crystal or the crystal quality it is. See, there is a two data given below. So the figure A and the figure B. So the Raman spectra of A is multi-layer graphene sheet showing presence of 2D band as well as negligibly small D band at 1350 centimeter inverse. So this is the D band, this is the G band, and this is the 2D band. So see the reference. This is the few layer graphene. So in case of few layer graphene, this G band is very intense. However, there is a 2D band, and if we are having a monolayer graphene sheet synthesized from copper foil, the intensity of 2D band is much higher than that of G, which is reverse for the multilayer graphene. See, in case of monolayer graphene, 2D peak is very intense as compared to the G peak. So basically, this 2D peak is intense in case of monolayer, because this is, we are getting this intensity more particular about the zone boundaries phonons. So if there is a monolayer, so this is the zone which is more prominent, because this G is only one layer. But if you are having multi-layer, then graph G layer is also intense, and the surface is not that much high as compared to the G. So by looking this data, just consider only one point. If we have monolayer and we are doing the Raman analysis, then our 2D peak will be more intense as compared to the G peak, right? So that is only one difference. Easily we can identify. Now see the next data. So basically 2D peak, even not only the intensity, but also the shape of the 2D peak, the position of 2D peak, and relative peak height with respect to the G band give clear-cut idea about single and multi-layer sample. So if we have monolayer and if we have multi-layer, then there will be clear-cut difference about not only the G to 2D relative peak intensity, but also shape and position. See this data, I think make this line very clear. So here we have the Raman data of 4 different sample. The sample graphene basically, which is monolayer, 1 layer. The sample which is has 2 layer, then 3 layer, and then 4 layer. Just compare the G band. This is your G band, and this is your D band. Just compare the G and D band. So see, G band is appeared almost in the same line. See the peak position is almost same in all the cases. Only the difference is the intensity. So as we talked earlier, in monolayer the G band is not so intense. As the layer number increases, the intensity of G band is increases. But that is not exactly true in the 2D band. 2D band case, you will see here, it's this is not basically normalized data, but even if you just see, the intensity is random. So how we can compare? We should compare always with respect to the intensity of G peak. So see the intensity of G peak here, G peak here. So if you compare the ratio of 2D by G peak, this is more than 1. Is it? See, compare here. Here almost this is 0.9%. See, this G peak intensity is slightly higher. See here, this is almost 70% and this is almost 50%. So if 2D by G ratio is more than 1, then this is a monolayer. And if it is close just less than 1, 90% or 95%, then there is 2 layer, 60-70%, then this is 3-4 layer, around 50%, then 4-5 layer. So one idea we can get easily just by doing Raman analysis, not even TEM, not even AFM, we can get a clear-cut idea about two things, whether we have monolayer or bilayer or trilayer or multi-layer graphene. And the other point about the defect. So see here, even the 1 layer peak, then the 2 layer peak positions are also not exactly same. These are always little bit shifting toward the right side, higher centimeter inverse number side. See, slight shifting in the peak. If you just scratch the point. So, and even these multi fittings are also there, which shows there's some kind of defect. Now see the next sample. So by looking this, we can get clear-cut idea about G band and 2D band. And if we compare the D band with respect to the G band, then we can also get the idea about the defect state. So maybe other paper you can refer to get the more clear-cut idea, like how we are going to distinguish defect, how we are going to calculate the number of layer by doing the Raman analysis. Our next technique is FTIR analysis of the graphene. So this is a kind of complementary measurement of Raman. Here again, we have the light source, and which is having different frequency of light simultaneously, and then we see what wavelength of the material is absorbed by our sample, and then same time what kind of material, what basically frequency is transmitted by the material. So either you can select the absorption data or you can select the transmission data, or also we can select the reflection data, and based on that data we can get very clear-cut information. So spectrum represent the molecular absorption and the transmission of the sample, create a molecular fingerprint. So similarly Raman, here also it's very good idea, like whether we are able to get. So now the question is, as we were able to get very clear-cut idea about the molecular structure in Raman, can we get similar structure in FTIR? So we cannot get the structural information exactly, but we can get what kind of association of the molecules are there with the structure, or we can say what kind of bonding is there with other molecule or within the molecule. So identify the presence of certain functional group present in a molecule. We can confirm or we can identify whether material is pure compound, or to detect the presence of specific impurities. It can also give a very clear-cut idea whether our material is graphite or our material is graphene oxide, or it's a reduced graphene or functionalized graphene. So in Raman, we can get this difference, but not exactly very clear-cut. But by FTIR analysis, we can get clear-cut identification on graphite oxide, reduced graphene, and functional graphene. So this is one data which can give a clear-cut idea about differentiation between graphene. So this bottom red is the data of graphene oxide. This is the reduced graphene oxide, and this is when it is surface modified with some sulfophenyl group modified RGO. So what the meaning of these peaks? If you see these peaks are appearing here, and how we can analyze this data. So see, we are getting one peak at 1048. This is 1048. This peak, this is basically carbon single bond oxygen, CO peak. Similarly, COC peak is appearing here at 1223. Similarly, COH means carbon bonded with OH is 1376. This is the peak. And see here, all these peaks are almost disappearing here. If you can see here. So in case of graphene oxide, oxide is always having bonding with oxygen with carbon, or carbon with OH. These kind of functionalization or functional group are present in graphene oxide. But when we reduce it, this kind of peak generally disappears, right? So that you can see here again. See, the next one is carbon and oxygen double bond at 1725, this one, and this is going to carbon. So this is the signature of the carbon-carbon bond, like within the structure. So this is still present in the system. And then OH, some big hump, if you see this is basically 300,000 to 3,500 in between. So this is OH group, that is also almost suppressed, or we are not able to see that much huge hump. So how we can distinguish? Say in case of, if we have RGO is quite similar to the graphene, not exactly graphene, but it is quite similar to the graphene structure. And here, if you see, one additional peak is there at 1160 centimeter, which maybe correspond to some functional group. So what we can say, the two peak at 1160 centimeter COH and 1550 centimeter C2CH is there in case of RGO spectrum, and suggests that GO has been effectively reduced because all other peak is disappear. So by doing this kind of analysis, we can get an idea about whether our material is reduced. So if we are having any process about the reduction of graphene or oxidation of graphene, that can be clearly identified. Now move to the another technique, which is UV visible spectroscopy. That is also well-known technique, and we are already familiar of graphene and GO. So basically, if the material is having some absorption of light, so if there is a pure graphene, you know, there is no band gap, so we are not going to get any kind of absorption. But if we have some kind of oxide or some functional group or some maybe defect in the system, then it creates some kind of band gap, and if that band gap is there, then of course we are going to observe some kind of absorption, or if there is some transition. So let's see how material behaves. So let's see, first think about the graphene oxide, because graphene oxide give a very clear-cut absorption peak. So attachment of oxygen, you know, there, and which increase the polarity of the layer, and this is also make the graphene more water soluble. So easily we can do the dispersion of graphene oxide in water, and therefore we are also observing the change in the color, like color of graphite is not similar because dispersed in the water and little bit different. So generally it is appeared a brownish color once GO is there, and absorption maxima comes around 230 nanometer if we have the graphene oxide. But once we reduce this graphene oxide, the color is almost converted to the black. So just by visualization, we can even see this is graphene and this is the graphene oxide, right? And if you see this absorption data, wavelength versus absorption, so one peak in case of graphene oxide, we are able to see at 230 nanometer, this peak, and there is a small another peak is here, not exactly very good peak, but look like a peak at 300 nanometer. So the geo peak at 230 nanometer is correspond to pi-pi transition of the aromatic C to C ring. So you know the pi to pi transition is there, and therefore we are observing this 230 nanometer peak. Similarly, the peak at 300 nanometer correspond to some attachment N to pi transition. So N to pi transition means there is a bonding of carbon with oxygen. So that kind of N to pi transition may be there, and we are observing this peak. While we have reduced graphene or graphene oxide only, then this absorption peak, basically 230 is not appeared. It basically gets shifted here. If you see, you can say, or originally it is here. When it is attached with oxygen, there is a splitting, and we are observing this one peak and two peak. Or you can say the reverse way. This peak, graphene oxide peak, is shifted to here when it is reduced to graphene. And this red shift is happening because decrease in the oxygen functional group and increase in the aromatic ring. Now you just reduce the oxygen bonding and you just only have the aromatic ring there in the structure. So by doing the UV visual spectroscopy analysis, we can also get an idea about the graphene oxide, or reduced graphene oxide, or the graphene. Here another data is there. So this data is shows like when there is some kind of modification in the surface, what is the difference in the absorption peak. So UV visual spectra of the aqueous solution of GEO showing two characteristic feature of identified GEO, solder as 310 nanometer corresponding to N-pi plasmon peak, and other 230 nanometer correspond to pi-pi plasmon peak. What is the things here happening? So graphene oxidized in different concentration of K1O4. The idea is graphene was there, now they have prepared the graphene oxide. So depending upon the number of oxygen functional group, like what is the intensity or amount of oxygen functional group, there will be a difference in the absorption peak. So here if you see the concentration of KMNO is 2N, 2.5, 3, 3.5 and 4. So basically concentration is increasing here. So it is obvious when the concentration of KMNO4 is increased, that means there is an increase in the functional group concentration. So therefore you see this black one is 2M, almost not so good, but here this is this peak and this peak, and even this peak become very prominent. Why? Because it has highest number of oxygen functional group. So that even that kind of information, like in case of 4.5, NKMNO4 solution was most effective in oxidizing the graphene. And so basically by doing this, we can also get one idea, like when we are doing reduction of graphene or oxidation of graphene, the process mechanism can be also understand, like even within the time duration, or there is a change in the concentration of oxidizing or reducing agent, or some other parameter effect can also be analyzed just doing by UV visible spectroscopic analysis, right? The next one is the X-ray diffraction of graphene and graphene oxide, which is also one common, but it is not so appealing. We generally do the XRD analysis, can get some kind of information. So if we are doing the XRD analysis of graphite, we'll get a very clear cut peak at 27 degree 2 theta. But if we have graphene oxide, then this peak will be basically appear at 10 degree 2 theta value of diffraction peak. So the shift in the diffraction peak is spacing between the graphene layer has increased because graphite is more closely, and then graphene oxide spacing is increased, right? So you have the graphene, so more close structure, graphene, 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, 4 layer. Now oxides are there and you have multi-layer. So maybe the seed to seed structure is also become slightly apart. So that's why that spacing is giving that much shift in the structure. The peak around 10 degree is absent when geo is reduced. But if you reduce this geo, then this peak will again disappear. So you can see here the data, the left hand side here where you can see the cursor. So if you have pure graphene, then since this is not very thick, this is only monolayer, so it's a nanostructure. So therefore, it appears a peak here, but peak is very broad. So this is the feature of nanomaterial, not very intense, a very broad peak. That is the peak of graphene. But if you have graphite, then this peak will shift at 10 and it's very clear cut peak. And if you have graphite, then graphite peak at 28 degree. So clear cut differences you can observe by doing just XRD analysis. You can identify the graphene. We can identify the graphene oxide. We can also identify the graphite. Here just normalized intensity peak so that you can get a clear cut idea. So let's say the graphite is here. When you are having graphene, then slight shifting in the peak toward the lower angle side. So this is also reduced graphene oxide, or you can say the graphene also appears similarly. And this is the geo. So as you see in case of FTIR or UV, even by doing the XRD analysis, we can get also a clear cut idea whether your material is reduced or not, or oxidized or not. Both the things can be clarified. Even if you have graphite and you just try to exfoliate it to make the graphene oxide layers, and again you just make it powder form and do the XRD analysis, you can also have an idea whether graphite is converted into graphene oxide or not, because the difference in the XRD peak will be there. So I hope this will give one very clear-cut idea about the differences in the XRD pattern of these three different materials. Though the materials are same, but structures are different. So I think that was the things what we have talked about, the characterization of graphene. We are not going to do the characterization of electrical properties, mechanical properties, or thermal properties as we discussed earlier, because these are the domain specific. Domain specific means when we are targeting some applications on some particular properties. What we have talked till, our focus was to identify whether graphene is there or not. Like how we can make sure the synthesized material is graphene or not. So that idea I think we have given by just doing the spectroscopic analysis and microscopic analysis of graphene. So that was our only target. So we have just discussed these. Now I think in the next discussion I would talk about surface functionalization and modification of graphene. So surface functionalization and modification means already your graphene is two-dimensional material whose surface is very, very active. It can host a variety of material, and once it hosts different material, it may create a kind of covalent bonding or non-covalent bonding. So based on what kind of bonding is there, or what kind of molecules are there, we may have very different properties. So that we will talk in our next PPT. So for today, I would stop here. I hope I have covered a little bit graphene characterization ideas, and you go through some more literature to understand in more detail. And if you have any queries and doubts, maybe we can discuss once we'll meet in the campus. Or if you want to discuss, maybe you can also share your Skype ID or something. and we can have an interaction on Skype or WhatsApp, whatever seems to convenient to you. Or maybe once we will meet in the campus. So for now, I would stop here. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.